I mean, the main inspiration for my personal style definitely comes from music. I'm a big fan of a lot of different kinds of music, varying from like old school hip hop to like ska from like the 80s. So I think definitely depending on what music I'm into on that specific day can change what I want to wear. For example, like today I woke up and a Wu-Tang song came on the radio, and from that I've kind of wanted to dress in a similar style to them. I've got like my Wu wear jeans on, I put a pair of wallabies on. Um, but then I've kind of wanted to incorporate my own bit of style. Like I'm a huge fan of like tracksuit tops, so I've wanted to like mix it up a little bit with that. So I think definitely like stuff that I'm into music wise, and then stuff that I've kind of picked up along the way. I like to incorporate together to make my own personal style. Yeah. So subcultural styles I like to take inspiration from. Definitely a lot of like the two tone and the ska subcultures. Like being from the Midlands, I like to reference that. And definitely like the mod subculture. I was always pretty into that. Like one of my first kind of style awakenings as like a teenager was like all the mod stuff. Not necessarily like the 60s mods, but more like the 80s mods. Like watching This Is England, it kind of introduced me to that kind of style. So yeah, that's probably like my biggest kind of, not necessarily now, but the one that kind of introduced me to like how you can dress in different ways while also referencing different subcultures. Yeah, I definitely do believe that social media can affect people's styles, because it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it just opens you up to a variety of different things. Like you can educate yourself on different areas of history that can influence your style. I think that's one thing that can be bad is like the consumerism part of it. I think people, because they see so much different styles, it makes them want to dress differently, which can be bad because they're constantly buying more stuff. Like especially within say companies that get their clothes through fast fashion, it's like they're constantly keeping up with the demand. So I think that can be bad, but I think there's nothing wrong with people wanting to dress differently, and if the internet helps people do that, I think that's fantastic. Um, I think they are still thriving. I just think they're less kind of spoke about because they've been around for so long. People aren't necessarily interested, maybe. Um, like I said, for me, I don't think I can pinpoint myself onto one subculture that I feel like I'm a part of. I like to feel like I'm kind of dipping my toes into different areas. So perhaps that could be a main reason why you don't really hear about it, because people like to be a part of different things. Um, but yeah, I definitely still think they're very prominent around today. It would just be nice to see people be their self more. I think a lot of people like to go along to trends. I don't know if that's because it's like an easy route or it's just people feel like they have to. I just think it would be very nice to see people maybe connect to more where they're from, or perhaps just find more things that you're interested in instead of just following what everyone else is interested in.
Oh, I think sustainability is like at the forefront of my inspiration. But from there, I have a very eclectic style. I think it depends on the day if I want to dress up or dress down. Um, but I think I like simple styles, but then also quite like colourful and funky stuff as well. I like to stand out. I'd say a little bit. I like to pick out little bits from different subcultures. So the whole like mod thing with Fred Perry and I don't know, other stuff like that. Yeah, I definitely say so. I think both in a like positive and negative way, because people, I think from social media and like consumerism and stuff, people like to just buy whatever's trendy at that second, wear it, and then chuck it out the next week or whatever. People can sort of come together as a community and sort of create their own subcultures through, like from what I've experienced is through like, like making your own clothes and like sustainability and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's positive and negatives to all. From my point of view, I would say it's become a lot more like diminished. I think because of the social media and like internet stuff, people have access to all of the subcultures and they can pick out what they want from different parts. I think there's still people who, like are trailblazers in the subcultures and stuff, and they'll still stick to that. But I think it's more accessible now for people to, take different bits of it into their own style. I think people need to find their own style in terms of quality, like good pieces that they can wear. Like, it's not about like making your wardrobe smaller, but if you've got, a few things that you'll definitely wear for years and years and years, they're good quality pieces, then I think that can give you a personal sense of style. Because, I take this dress, for example, I wear it all the time, and people will be like, oh yeah, that's an Erin dress. And then, if you have a nice, good quality dress or a good quality piece of clothing, then people can, say it's like your style.
So I'd probably say my sort of music taste and the sort of the sort of image of sort of more like frontmen of bands, sort of that sort of image kind of influences what I kind of go for. So quite a lot of vintage styles as well, sort of the more 90s classics like the leather jacket and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say it's predominantly sort of music. Sometimes in sort of select films as well. That kind of has a big impact on it as well. Yeah, I'd say definitely. I think one of the main sort of, well, like sub-genres, subculture sort of things I focus around is sort of like dark wave sort of genre. Sort of like your Depeche Mode, your Black Motorcycle Club, Royal Blood, all that sort of stuff. It's the kind of the influence of post-punk and new wave, and it sort of took a sort of, it's almost a bit like gothic punk but more sort of modernised. Especially with Depeche Mode and stuff like the traditional sort of outfits will be leather jackets, black jeans, Doc Martens, stuff like that. So I definitely base the way I dress off of that and the way I sort of present myself. Yeah, absolutely. Mainly I think social media has had quite a big impact on how people sort of, take influence from certain different things, sometimes good and others bad, because obviously social media it's such a big thing now that influences so much. But yeah, I'd say definitely mainly the social media aspect. I think I'd probably say they would. Maybe the sort of the scene, if like the subcultural scenes. So the one I can mainly think of is Northern Soul scene, or the dance clubs. I think maybe more traditional subcultures have sort of disappeared slightly, but you're starting to see stuff coming back. Main one I can think of is the post-punk scene. That sort of subculture. I'd say 2019 is when you saw a big rise in post-punk bands coming back, mainly after lockdown as well, which was nice to see. But yeah, I'd say it's still a big subcultural scene going around. Like I said, social media has a big impact on all of that. People can share their interests, and taking like Pinterest, people can take a lot of interests and find a lot on Pinterest. So yeah, I think it's still maybe obviously not traditionally as much, but yeah, modern day sort of stuff. Yeah. The one thing I can think of in terms of society would probably be gender. Yeah, it would probably be gender, because at the moment men are sort of, the traditional look on men, they wear a very, the select sort of trends. I think it'd be nice for, sort of like more unique, more sort of, if I can think of some examples, Barry Keegan, how do you say it? He has a very sort of metro sort of style to himself, and it's quite inspirational to me. Same with like people like Timothy Chalamet, all of that. I love those sorts of styles and stuff. And I think it'd be nice to see more of that in sort of modern day life. Maybe not just at like a fashion show or like a red carpet event. Something just more basic in the day, just someone walking in the street or going on a night out. I think it's a very cool style to explore. Something I'd probably want to explore a little bit more on myself. But yeah, that's the one that springs to mind straight away.
So the main inspiration for my style, I'd say, so I always usually wear suit trousers or smart shoes, or something like smart on top as well. My main sort of like where it's come from is like the fashion history in general, and I'll say one of the best games you'll ever play, personally for me, and one of my styles is LA Noire, set just after the Vietnam War. Same as Mafia 3, set just after the Vietnam War. They wear very simple stuff. It's the same as the 40s and 50s, but it's just great. It's varsity jackets, sort of like a preppy look, with like nice suit trousers, nice smart shoes, and it's just perfect. It's literally like what I love about fashion. It can be so simple but it can be so effective. So you just wear like some Levi jeans, a white t-shirt, leather jacket. I mean, I've got a selection here of just loads of different leather jackets, varsity jackets, that sort of thing, that always goes with suit trousers. And that's my style. You could also say it's a bit like Sopranos as well, a bit of an Italian look. Adidas jackets, night jackets with nice suit trousers, Yeah. So I'd say personally for me, the sort of subcultures that I'd sort of say I'm sort of related to, I wouldn't say I'm actually fully related to any, but as some different ones have different aspects for me. So you could say punk has an aspect for me, because in punk you can wear whatever you want, doesn't care what you wear. It's the same thing with the punk as well. It's the punk values that are actually mean something to you more. So you can wear whatever you want as long as you believe in the same sort of thing and you go to the music and you listen to the music and you support the music. I think that's kind of the subculture for that. But then you can also say, so I was also from like sort of like old sort of mafia look. So I was just like, if I could wear anything in the world and it'd relate to me, I would wear a suit, probably a nice hat, probably like a nice like Italian made suit. So that'd be my sort of subculture you could say, is like kind of hints of punk, hints of old like style of mafia. But then also I do have some like sort of like gorpcore sort of like subculture, or I don't know. There's lots of different stuff I have, but those are the two main you could see me in. Yeah. Personally, for me, I don't want to sound like a dick, basically, but I don't shop at Primark. I don't really shop at Shein. I don't really shop at any of those sort of things where they oversell stuff completely, and then people buy it and then just don't wear it. Personally, for me, the outfit I'm wearing right now, I got these for £1.50 off Vinted. There's someone's second-hand suit trousers, probably from like their wedding. But these, I wear them all the time because I love them. They're great. They're comfy. They're great fitted. I'm not sort of, like, I didn't want to sound like I'm all pretentious and stuff, but these are cheaper than half the stuff you get at places that do like sweatshops, this sort of thing, and just oversell stuff, and people just like they're just buying it for the sake of it. They're not even going to do anything with it. You might as well buy cheap stuff or Vinted or Depop or eBay or anywhere that's second hand, has already been used, and then just wear it. And these are literally the comfort. Like I could go on about for ages. There's other ones I've got. I've got all my Levi jeans. I don't buy them brand new. I always get them for about 10-15 quid off Depop or Vinted, and they literally last me forever. Like, I don't need to buy any more because I've got different colours of blue, different colours of black, and then I leave it as that. Don't need anything else now. It's the same thing as this. I've got like some other stuff on here. Like I've got a jacket over here, and this one here, my Levi jacket. That's recycled Levi's. So you're buying it as recycled Levi's, but it's actually a one of one piece, so you get both of it. So I personally, for me, I usually shop at places where I know it's gonna be second hand, or or it's gonna be good quality and last me a while. But obviously, I mean, everyone does buy some places. Like I will buy obviously some places. Like I might buy like a new Stussy t-shirt, but I will wear the hell out of it. I won't just buy it and not wear it at all. I just leave it somewhere. Like everything I own, I wear all the time. And if I don't wear it all the time, I'll sell it, because there's no point in me just keeping it. Someone else might get some use out of it and be better for them. So, yeah. So for me personally, I mean, you could argue subcultures still exist. It may be in football, and places where like people feel like they need to sort of be brought together. So maybe in some certain music places, you could say. So you could say punk is still a subculture because people go there to listen to punk music, but their actual clothing is completely different now. And people go there more to listen to the music than they do to just wear stuff for the sake of it. The only places you could probably say where subculture still exists would probably be in like football culture, because everyone sort of still wears the same sort of stuff. But then again, you can argue that and say, well, I go to football and I don't wear the same sort of things. So I personally think like now it's more about how you express yourself through your own identity. I feel like you can just take parts of subcultures and link it back into yourself. So like I said earlier, like you could say that some of the stuff that I'm wearing now, some of it's like old mafia sort of look, or old Italian look, or old preppy look. But the values that I keep I could go to a punk gig probably, and I'd still love it, but I wouldn't wear the same clothing. It's more of the fact that it's the values more than anything now than it is about what you're wearing, who you're with, all this sort of thing. And sometimes you might feel a bit left out between groups, but I personally think you should just dress how you want to dress all the time, and just just use the values from different groups that you like and just make them yourself. Your own identity. You've got to express that. So I think personally for me, I think people need to just wear whatever the hell you like. To be honest, like I think there's loads of things you could say about it, but I think the main thing is just express your identity. And just be yourself. Wear what you like. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about what you wear. Like I'm not saying I've got some abstract fashion, but I know a lot of people that wear what they like because they don't give an absolute fuck what anyone thinks about what they wear. They don't care about like what people think about their identity or anything like that. Literally, all these jackets here, half of them are bloody different things. Like you can see down here, and I've got loads of different trousers. I've got some Levi's, I've got some cargos, I've got some suit trousers. But everything that I buy, as long as you're buying sustainable, then I think it's usually fine. Like, yeah, you're gonna buy the odd thing. I've said this already in the other questions, but at the same time, I feel like you just need to express yourself and then make yourself happy. There's no point in wearing something because someone tells you to wear it. You might hate it. You might not feel comfortable in it. Just wear what you want to wear. I think that's the most simple way to put it. And yeah, just try and be sustainable as you can, really. Just like, there's some stuff here that, this bag here been made out of a t-shirt by my friend. I've got this as well. This here, also made out of an old t-shirt as well. I've got loads of stuff that I just like wearing because they've been made out of something. Or okay, yeah, I've got a Vivienne Westwood bag here. Someone could say, oh yeah, but you're buying like luxury stuff here. But this was also, she was selling this item as well, to raise money for people, and I think it was try and raise money for a charity in Africa. So in a way you could say, okay, I'm buying something new, but at the same time it's for a charity where I'm helping someone else. As long as you're helping someone else, I think that's fine. So yeah, that's the best way to express yourself.
I'd probably say like 90s hip hop kind of stuff, but then recently with like my leather jackets and like my darks and stuff like that, I'd probably say I'd taken that from like punk culture because I hadn't really been introduced to that until I was 18 and started working in like similar to Bodega. It's like a venue back where I'm from, and they do like, it's a pub, but they've got a lot of like rock nights on upstairs. So like I met a lot of people, and I think that probably influenced my style. I'd probably say again punk, and then with like just like my like actual clothes, I'd probably just say what I see around. Like I shop around a lot, vintage, urban, but only if I've got the money for that. But yeah, I'd say that's it really. I'd say so in the sense of like fast fashion, because like with more awareness like around it, a lot of people try to like shop more sustainably, because I guess before it was like there wasn't much coverage on like where all of your cheap clothes were coming from, and now that there's the coverage for that, people hopefully, well, I try to avoid fast fashion and do like vintage and like just avoid that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'd say for some subcultures, no, but for some, yes. Like, I feel like back in the day, like mods and rockers, that was like such an intense like time for subcultures. But now everyone's just kind of like integrating into one, I'd say. Well, especially in like Nottingham and like the bigger cities. Yeah. I'd probably say like individuality. Like I'd like to see a lot more of like younger people like finding themselves and like how they like to dress earlier on, because I'd say it took me up until like 17 to start figuring out how I want to dress, and like there's just a lot of pressures on like some people to like dress a certain way or act a certain way. So if people could just find themselves a bit earlier and society be a bit more accepted, that would be good.